Hi everyone, I hope you are all well and thank you for joining me for our toadstool / mushroom tutorial. Now often when I do a mushroom I just do the stem in a grey colour, and I thought today we'd do it slightly grey brown, show you a slightly different take on that and just have some fun. I love colouring mushrooms, I hope you do too. So I'm actually going to start with my Naougat. This is some Polychromos pencils, by the way, which we've been using for the whole of this page. And I'm going to do a layer of the brown on the stem of the mushroom to start with. The idea is that that we get a brown base and then we can add some greys and get sort of grey-brown mushroom. And I'm going to pop some under here as well. Now I realise that not all mushrooms and toadstools are the same colour, obviously, but this is going to be a really light application on these. But I do like doing them this colour. I'm not sure what to do with this frilly edge, having a think about that, but I'm decided to colour the dots first. I'm going to match them in with the stem, just because I think that will be fun. And I thought I'd colour them first because it's easier than if I go over the edge. Hopefully it won't be so bad. I don't know. Right, I'm going to use some brown greys now. We need to start fairly dark because obviously we've already got a base colour there. So I've grabbed my warm grey 5. This is V, Roman. I love how it's Roman numerals, it's so interesting. And I think I'll start with this bit. This is sort of gill area. This would be quite dark under here, wouldn't it? Where I've got some shadow and maybe a little bit lighter towards the edge of the mushroom. So I'm just going to do that and fill in that bit. That's too thin to do a lot with. There we go. I might add a lighter colour in a bit. Now for this stem I want it to look rounded, so I'm going to put a dark layer along each edge. I know I'm ignoring that little bit down there at the minute. It sort of matches this bit, doesn't it? I'm not thinking about it, I'm just ignoring it. I don't know why. We might do something with it in a bit. We might not. So I think there'll be a bit more shadow on the top there. But what I am trying to do is to make it look a little bit more rounded by putting the darker colour on the edge, like that. And at the bottom, it would be darker all around the bottom part too. I'm just going to fade that up using that little circular motion. Now with each of these dots, I'm going to put a darker bit at the bottom and fade it up as well. Now sometimes I leave these white, that can be fun, but I thought we would just put some colour on them today, be a little bit different for you all. So I hope you're all good. Yesterday we spoke a lot about crowns and royals and parliament and things like that. Today I don't have any mushroom stories very much. Don't know much about them. I like eating them, but I would never go out and pick some and just eat them. I'm just deciding on my next colour. I think I'm going to go down a couple of tones and go down to cold grey, warm grey 3. Sorry, it's not cold, it's warm. And extend this area. So I always buy them from supermarkets or stores that know what they're doing, because apparently there are some types that look really similar. I'm just going to darken that up a bit. And they might either be really delicious and edible or completely poisonous. So I don't want to risk it. And my sister's husband likes going out foraging and getting some, but he hasn't. I think he was taught by a relative and he seems to know what he's doing, but I think you need to be ever so careful. I have grown my own mushrooms, interestingly. You can get a little kit where you I'm trying to decide whether to move on to red now. I think I will. I quite like the edge of my mushroom to be a bit darker, actually. I think I'm just going to grab a darker grey and just, oops, hit the tripod. This is warm grey 6. Just like, I think if you've got more of a darker edge, the contrast can be greater, it can give a better look. But yes, I love mushrooms, delicious. We had loads yesterday, I haven't got any actually now, I used them all up. My son had, he was sore from his new braces, so on his teeth. So I made him his favourite, or one of his favourites, which is a mushroom-based dish. Let's cook a bit of sweet potato first. I usually fry it in a little bit of, steam it in a wok with a bit of oil and water with a lid on, and then once that's soft, add loads of mushrooms. And I also added a bit of pepper just because I had some that needed using. Why not? Just throw veggies in there. I am looking for my next colour while I'm talking. And then I'm going to go with the Venetian Red to start with and just do a very light layer across the whole of the mushroom. So then throw in the sliced mushrooms, and then once they've cooked down, I add some frozen peas and a tinned borlotti beans, and pop a bit of tomato puree. I usually use a little baby tin, and some stock, veggie stock. I just use a stock cube, make it up with a very small amount of water. He doesn't like things very runny. And then we've got a sauce to go on it, and we serve it on some couscous. I like wholemeal couscous, and there we go. So it can be a vegan meal if you want to make sure your veggie stock is okay. And but we have a lot of plant-based meals just because I don't like meat, and I'm not a big fish fan either, just personal taste. And I'm also lactose intolerant, so it makes cooking interesting, but I love veggies. But unfortunately I can't eat onions, garlic or leek, which give dishes a lovely flavour. But you know, that's what it is. So I've just darkened those edges a little bit to start with. I want to make it quite earthy, so I'm going to go in with a more orangey tone for a minute. I did some berries in a picture recently, and I'm trying to use some of those colours because I was quite pleased with how it came out. So this is Sanguine, and I'm just going to go all over with that. I'm trying to keep so it's a bit darker on the edges, so I can layer this up a little bit more. But I do want other layers of colour, so I don't want to press down too hard and fill up all the paper before I've got down all the colours that I want. I think it's quite fun to make the mushroom darker on the edges, because then it looks more rounded, like it's catching the light a little bit in the middle. Some mushrooms are actually really, really shiny, so you can do that shine if you want to. Okay, so I'm going to add a really deep red now. This is, bear with me, deep Scarlet Red. I'm going to pop a layer of that on. Again, darker on the edge with a few more layers, then less towards the centre. I don't think I would eat a mushroom that was this colour though, would you? I don't think that would be a sensible idea. I think stick to the white ones that you get in the supermarket. We used to make creamy mushrooms on toast, so cook some mushrooms with garlic or a shallot, and then add some salt and pepper and cream and just put it on toast. Lovely. You can do a lactose-free white sauce as well, but my children don't like it, so we don't tend to do that very much. Okay, so we've got a bit more red. Where to now? Just looking. I think I'm going to go with this one. This is the burnt ochre. And it will just tone it down a little bit. Now you can see we're using lots and lots of colours all on top of each other. And you don't have to do this, you can just pick one colour and go for it. It's quite interesting, my husband, when he's painting, he isn't a fan of mixing paint, so he just buys loads of different colours and then just picks the one he likes and uses it. Whereas I find with pencils you don't always have the colour you want, and I'm sure it's the same with paint. He was actually saying how he was looking at the sky yesterday and it was a really blue sky. And he said, oh, it starts at cerulean blue at the bottom and then goes to some other colour at the top. I don't know. He uses Winsor & Newton paint, so that's how he names his colours, according to their paint colours. And he said, I just can't get that colour. And but I said, well, do you mix them up? I said, oh no. But he also says it's quite difficult to fade one into the other, and I think with paint, with watercolour, I don't know if that's harder than with pencil. I'm not very good at watercolour. I find everything harder with watercolour than pencil. Okay, we're getting there, but now I want to sort of mix everything together. So I'm going to use this cinnamon colour, which is a lighter colour, so I can layer it down a bit harder in the middle if I want to, and sort of mix everything up really. And start to think about whether we've got enough light and shade and that sort of thing on it for our liking. I do like looking at mushrooms growing in the wild though, when they're on tree stumps or things like that. They look really magical. I'm not really into sort of witchy magic and things like that. I know some people are. You know, it's just not anything I know very much about. But I just think it looks fun, like a little fairy ring or something like that. You know, it's cool. It just reminds me of Enid Blyton books. Okay, we're going to darken up those edges again. I'm going to use the Venetian Red for that. And start to really layer up now, because this is likely to be quite probably one of my final layers. I know we're really layering up the colours today, but I think it's worth it. Yes, I don't know whether Enid Blyton is something that reached other countries outside of the UK, her books, but I used to have, my cousin had quite a collection and I was very fortunate they were passed on to me. I'm going back to this burnt ochre to sort of carry on from where I sort of ended there. Yeah, my cousin passed a lot on to me as she grew out of them. I think she was only a year or two, maybe 3 years older than me. And I used to reread them loads. I really enjoyed them. In that centre, I want to make it look a little bit shiny. So I'm going to use this pencil This is the a light yellow ochre, so we're going to add some sort of yellowy shine, but we're going to be quite careful. Don't want too much, just to brighten that centre bit a little bit, without it looking really, really yellow. But yes, and then she had some books from a series, but not all of them. So I don't know, and they were like middle books. So Enid Blyton wrote a series of school stories called Mallory Towers, and she sort of had 3 and 4 or something like that, which is a bit strange. So I'm just going to bring it all together with this pencil. This is number 131. Mine's called Medium Flesh. They have changed the names now. I'm going to go over the whole thing, not the dots. And so I bought a few. I think I saved up some of my pocket money, or had them for asked for them for my birthday or something, and bought a few of them so that I could have the whole series, because I really like them. But I like the ones with elves and pixies and things as well. Apparently Enid Blyton was quite a nature fan, so she sort of wrote a lot of outdoory type content, and she had some sort of wildlife non-fiction books as well, but I didn't really have those. Now we're going to make these dots look like they're standing out from the, sorry, this is dark sepia, standing out a bit from the mushroom. So we're going to put some shadow underneath each one to start with. And we're also going to add shadows elsewhere, you'll see in a minute. And some of these look like they've got a bit of a pink tinge or reddish tinge. Whoops, where I've gone over the line. Unfortunately that's left a nasty mark, but we're just going to have to go with it, because I don't think it'll erase. I'll have a look in a minute. So try to follow the rounded shape of the dot. And it looks like a shadow now. Where that broke, where's my eraser? It's a little bit too much. I'm just going to try and rub that back. There, that's better, a little bit. Now I'm also going to go along this line here. I could make this look like it's sticking out a little bit. Finding it quite hard to follow that rounded pattern. I don't know why. Oops. There we go. And I'm also going to put a line of shadow there, and under here, and there, and then along here. There we go. Now we're going to finish off with the white pen. I'll probably use the this one to do just a little bit at the top of each of these shapes, and it should make them look a little bit more shiny. So basically I'm just erasing a bit of the black line. And I said yesterday I didn't like erasing the black lines, but actually I did it for my pearls, and I'm doing it here, but not the whole thing, just a little bit. There we go, and we are going to leave that there. So there is a, I've just put my head up and notice how dark it's got in the room. I think it's going to rain, but anyway, you don't need to worry about it raining. But there is our toadstool. So I hope that was fun. I really enjoyed doing that little one. It was great fun. And tomorrow is our last day, and we've got our bottle, so I'm going to have a little think about what to do with that. But until then, hope you have a lovely day, and get time to do some colouring, hopefully. Thank you so much for watching, and happy colouring.